Okay, so we have the Newton's first law, little lab that you're going to try on your own today. The reason you're doing this on your own, I know it's a lab, is because everything here is pretty common. You're going to have a coin, a glass or a cup, and then you're going to have an index card. You can use a piece of paper, a thicker piece of paper. You know, if you don't have an index card, it doesn't have to be an index card. Just some sort of thicker piece of paper. If you have just regular paper, why don't you fold it into a square, like fold it into fours, and then just use the folded piece of paper. Alright, so what we're going to do, set up the index card over a glass and then put a coin on top. And so that's what we've done there. I've got a glass, I've got the index card, and then we put a quarter on top of it. And so what I'm going to do, Finley is going to do this for me. Once you get that set up, it says on your lab to, with your thumb and forefinger, quickly flick the card sideways off the glass. Observe what happens to the coin. So I'm going to allow you to make your own observations. So what happened to the coin? Fell into the glass. When you do your lab, it says, does the coin move with the index card? And so you're going to, on a piece of paper, you just tell me if the coin, tell me what happened first off, and then does the coin move with the index card? Then the second part of this lab is to, it says here, slowly pull the card sideways and observe what happens to the coin. Alright, so slowly pull the card. No, put it back on there. Don't lift it off. Pull it. Well, okay, so she did that kind of fast, but at the same time, when she pulled the card sideways, observe what happens to the coin. So we saw a very fast motion on step number 2. We had a slower motion on step number 3. And so it says, based on those two things, use Newton's first law of motion to explain your results. And so if you go back to your notes, and I had you already look at that, on this page of your notes right here, it talks about Newton's first law of motion. And so Newton's first law of motion also talks about, like it's the law of inertia. And so this law states that an object's motion will not change until an unbalanced force acts on it. So if we are to think about this lab that you just saw Finley and I demonstrate, do you see motion changing only when something is happening to it? And it says also that this law states that an object will not start to move until an unbalanced force acts on it. So think about the coin. If you flipped that coin, it fell straight down because it's kind of like you were moving the card out from under it. But when you slowly pulled the card, the coin stayed with it. So we need to think about, what does that tell us? So go into inertia. This is the tendency of an object to resist changes in motion. The amount of inertia an object has depends on its mass. And so the coin is not very massive, but did we see that it resisted a motion? We did see it resist a motion because instead of on the first time when Finley flipped the coin, it went straight down into the cup. So it started at the top, and when she did it, it fell straight down. Okay, so did it resist motion? Did it go with the card, or did it stay where it was, and once the card was gone, it has to fall down? Okay, so we saw inertia there. Then, when she pulled the card out, there wasn't as much force with that, and so therefore the coin stayed with it. So what you need to do, if you look back at your lab, you're going to use this discussion after you try it yourself, and you're going to answer this analysis question for me. So, step number 2, you're going to write your observation. What happens? Does the coin move with the index card? Step number 3, observe what happens to the coin. Write me down your observation. Then, this one right here, you're going to use that first law of motion to explain what you saw in steps 2 and step 3. So I'm looking for 3 total things. All right, guys. See you later.